I made it. That was stressful. Oh my gosh. Okay, I hope you hung in there. The thing crashed and said not available, and had to reboot. So I'm here, and I hope you're still here. We begin again. Let's see, who did I miss saying good morning to? Oh, so many folks. Thank you all for being here. Okay, so everything's working now. If someone could just shoot me a message, I think it looks like fine. Oh, and one of these tech knobs, it has to say, is it working? Yeah, yes, truly. Absolutely. I kept breathing. I'm like, it's okay, don't panic. There was a little panic, let's be honest. Thanks, loves. Okay. So for my sake and perhaps for yours, we'll take a few moments to just arrive here, just to pause, and probably mostly for me, and then we'll have the talk and then practice and time for questions if you have questions. So just take a few breaths if you need that, or feel yourself settling into your seat or your posture. And just a few more mindful breaths here. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take that clock off the wall that is clicking so loudly, because apparently things like that are quite loud when you're on video. So I missed that in my setup. One sec. There we go. See, this is when it's good to not be wearing your pajama pants when you're doing a live video. Everyone thinks, oh, they can only see. You might have to get up. So I put on real pants today. So this is our part 3 of this little 4-part sharing, exploration of the right efforts, wise efforts. And sometimes I've been thinking, I wonder if this has been an appropriate topic at this time. It fits for me, but it is kind of a part of the path that isn't taught till a bit further into our practice. But so I'm hoping that it's coming across as being accessible and relevant. For me, the mind states, of course, are really apparent right now, and not easily denied and avoided, because everything is so heightened. So this, if you haven't been here for the other 2, there's 2 other videos on wise effort, right effort. The first 2 parts, so it's I think I called them Wise Effort Part 1, Wise Effort Part 2 with Jill Davey, and those were on the unskillful, unwholesome, unwise, unhelpful mind states. And the first one is preventing them from arising in the first place. The second one is when they have arisen, which they do, how to be skillful with that, what to do with that. And now we turn to the next 2 parts of wise effort, which are cultivating and maintaining the wholesome mind states when they arise, and helping them to arise. Thanks, Elena. So this is, in terms of understanding wise effort and how it fits in the path, this is part of one aspect of the Eightfold Noble Path. It's the sixth part of the eight. And the Eightfold Noble Path, sometimes called the middle path, the middle way, is what the Buddha taught, awoke to, realized, and practiced of how to be free, how to be liberated, how to be peaceful amidst all of this life stuff. Not by controlling and fixing life, which we've found out we cannot do, but by cultivating these skillful states within ourselves. Yeah, so this one is typically worded as how to arouse, which to me I think of cultivating the skillful states to arise, how to cultivate these to arise. One of the teachers on the 3-month retreat, Winnie Nazarko, she's amazing, and she referred to this one as summoning, which I thought was very sweet. I love the way she teaches, beautiful. Winnie Nazarko, and summoning the arising of skillfulness. Isn't that so inviting? Yeah, I like it a lot. So I want to just read, this is very brief, but this is a little piece from the Dhammapada, one of the texts of the teachings as they were originally written down, as far back as we can access anyways. And it says this is often misquoted and used in ways to justify somebody's direction they're trying to take, but this is from Dhammapada. Mind precedes all mental states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind wrought. If with an impure mind, and here we could say unskillful or unwholesome, impure mind, a person speaks or acts, suffering follows them like the wheel that follows the foot of the ox. Yeah? So if our mind state is impure, or what this means is referring to the 3 defilements, the 3 root, we'll just say defilements of greed, hatred, and delusion. So if our mind state is, our whole mind state, which includes the body, is full of, or even the little seeds of it that we all have of greed, hatred, and delusion, then how we speak and act is going to be informed by that. And through that, suffering will follow us, just like the wheel that follows the foot of the ox. Okay, so those were the first 2 right efforts that we looked at in the other 2 talks. And so this teaching goes on from Dhammapada. Mind precedes all mind states. Mind is their chief. They are all mind wrought. If with a pure mind a person speaks or acts, happiness follows them like a never departing shadow. On Facebook, when I posted the image for this talk yesterday, I shared a beautiful photo. I can't remember the photographer now, but I did give them credit in that link. Of people walking with their shadow, attached at the feet and walking behind them. A beautiful image from the Buddha and captured by that photographer of, if we cultivate these wholesome, skillful mind states, and then we speak and act from that place, then happiness will follow us like a never departing shadow. And we might think, my dear friend Andrea often cites a poem from, I believe it's one of Rosemary Witola Tromer's poems of even now, even now, even now. And we can, and the poem just keeps asking this. It's, I should look for that link. I'll try and add it in. You know, so even now, even when it's so painful, I could be happy. What does that mean? Yeah. And this happiness is not maybe what our culture defines as happiness of, you know, exuberance, or it's not a happiness that's denying or bypassing anything, as we talked about last time. It's a happiness of contentedness, of okayness, of understanding this too will pass. It's the happiness of touching into gratitude, of joy, that's always available, even now, even now. Because in each moment, something is being cultivated. In each moment, something is being cultivated. Yeah. So what do we want? What are we choosing? What are we wanting to grow and cultivate? This is where we. I love this, Marcus. He who kisses joy as if flies lives in eternity's sunrise. William Blake. Wow, that's lovely. Thank you. So how do we cultivate this arising of skillfulness? This is the path. This is our practice. The fourth noble truth of the Four Noble Truths is the way, the path to the arising of these skillful and wholesome states. So in particular, I'll talk about just a few aspects because there's a huge amount in there. But I'm just going to mention that precepts, our ethical intentions, our ethical moral values are very important here, right? If we commit to the intention for non-harm, non-greed, not taking what isn't freely given, not being intoxicated. So whatever our precepts are, is very much a part of cultivating what is wholesome. Because if we're behaving in ways and that are, you know, we know have been harmful to ourselves and others, then our mind is going to be upset. You know, we're going to feel shame or guilt or blame or anger, and so those mind states will be fed. I'm aware that I keep gesturing around my head when I say mind states, and this is just an old habit. So I want to make it clear that mind states includes body states. That heart, mind, body, the whole energetic system is part of the mind. Okay. Okay, so we have our precepts, our ethics. We have the Brahma Viharas, the divine abodes, which we've been practicing, of loving kindness, compassion, equanimous, harmonic joy, resonant joy, and equanimity. These are also practices and intentions that cultivate skillful mind states. In particular today, I want to talk about the first two of the 7 factors of awakening and really pull out their importance here in cultivating, summoning the arising of skillfulness. The first of these is called sati, S-A-T-I in Pali. And sati is the word that is most often translated and has become known as mindfulness. Another way of defining sati is remembering, which of course is mindfulness. It means to remember. We like in our formal practice, we choose an anchor, and as we found, the mind moves away, and we come back to the anchor. We remember. At some point, remembering happens. Oh yeah, I was paying attention to the breath, and we begin again. This is the mindfulness. Is the beginning again. Returning to our anchor, cultivating that stability and calm. This is the beginning. Mindfulness is not enough. The second factor of the 7 factors of awakening is called Dhammavicaya, which means investigation of states, or dhammas. It's the investigation of how things are. Investigation here is not how we typically think of investigation as being thinking about, figuring it out, all of that. Trying to understand something and just thinking. Investigation here really refers to an embodied knowing, waking up all of the 6 sense doors, not just the sense door of the mind, but the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the touch, the sensations in the body, to really know how things are. And when we do this, when we practice in this way, when we develop this capacity, we see that all things have these 3 characteristics of being effervescent, always changing, flowing, fluid nature of all things, including this self that feels so solid and permanent. All things are interconnected. And thus, because everything is impermanent, constantly changing, affected by everything else, we can see there's nothing to be clung to. There's nothing, it's unreliable. And at first, this can seem quite scary. Like, whoa, I want to hold on. I want to know we want to keep what's pleasant. We want to hold on to, rely on some ground, and it's usually a false ground. The ground of the present moment, knowing its true nature, becomes a really safe and profound ground. So to picture this, imagine yourself, if you like, walking into a completely dark room, pitch dark room, absolutely dark. And if you can imagine yourself walking into this, for most of us, we may likely feel fear, confusion, doubt. We don't know what's in the room. We don't know what we're going to bump into. We're going to hurt our shins and bunk our toes or walk into a wall. What's going to happen? We don't know what's happening in the future. And the mind is caught in these states of fear, confusion, and doubt. And also the whole system gets triggered into, fight or flight or freeze in these unknown situations. And this is happening because we can't see clearly how things are. There's no illumination to see how things actually are. So to bring the light, the brightness, the clarity, the vision, the knowing of how things are, we can bring in the image of a candle. So if you just picture a little tea light candle, one of those little small round, they're like about that high, just small circle, and they don't have a lot of wax in them. They have a small wick so if you imagine these two factors that I'm talking about of mindfulness and investigation of states of how things are, they can work together in this way, like this little tea light candle. So imagine if that candle burns down so that which maybe you've seen this happen, there's no wax left. There's only the wick left. And you could possibly light it because the wick is still saturated in some wax. You could light it for a little bit. So if you were able to light that little wick that has no wax left around it, it won't stay lit. It's going to maybe light briefly and then it will go out. So we won't have that illumination, that clarity, that seeing. So we need the wax of mindfulness. The wax part of this candle is the mindfulness. But if we just have that, the wax with the wick, and it's not lit, we do not have the illumination. So we have to have the candle lit with the investigation, the curiosity. What is this? How is this felt? What's really going on? Where am I right now? What's happening right now? So we need both the wax of mindfulness and the light of investigation to illuminate these dark mind states and body states. In the same way, investigation alone, just that light without the mindfulness, the embodied mindfulness, can become just intellectual, like I was saying before, just thinking about something. So we need both of these to really look and know deeply. And I'm not going to go into the rest of the 7 factors, but I will just mention that these two, mindfulness, investigation of how things truly are, when we bring these two together, the rest of the factors arise, they cultivate, they grow. And over we come back and, begin again. Oh, mindfulness again, investigation again. When these come together, they bring energy. We need energy to feed the right efforts that we're talking about. And this energy becomes, it's called piti, rapture, or it's like a joyous, peaceful, content awareness, mindfulness. And then this levels off kind of into a state of calm, very calm, but awake, aware, energized, but in a calm, happy, peaceful way. And from this arises concentration. Often when we begin practicing meditation, we think, oh, it's about concentrating. I'm going to sit down and concentrate, pay attention to the breath, and we get all like aggressive with ourselves. And you can see from this that concentration arises. It's the 6th of the 7 factors. It arises from mindfulness, begin again, from paying attention, and then eventually concentration comes. And from that, it becomes equanimity. Yeah, so a beautiful, beautiful path and practice. So to cultivate, to summon, I really like that, the arising of skillfulness, these are two kind of ingredients we can really work with and play with. The mindfulness, where am I right now? What's happening? What am I eating? Who am I with? What am I feeling in the body? You know, bring in our other senses, awaken the other senses. And with this curiosity, investigation, delight, has a joyous quality to it. And when we do this, again, we see the three characteristics that everything is effervescent, constantly flowing like water through your hands. When you feel stuck in a state, frozen into something, there's clinging there. And everything is interconnected. We're all completely related to each other, affecting each other. We know this. And there's nothing here to be clung to. It reminds me of for the Trekkies in the house, my husband being one these days, back to his Trekkie roots. So referring to the show Star Trek, there's something called IDIC, IDIC, which is Vulcan philosophy. We're going there, yes. Vulcan philosophy, which means the infinite diversity of infinite combinations. And this is the beauty and presence of not knowing, and this brings true knowing. By seeing the infinite diversity of infinite combinations, everything is constantly flowing and constantly affected by everything. Yeah. So if you're not inspired by the Buddha, be inspired by Spock. Okay. A poem before we practice here. This is a poem by Rosemary Watola Tromer, my favorite poet. And I did put the link to this poem below with the links for True North Insight and myself. So it's called It's All Practice. So, I was talking about how do we cultivate the arising of skillfulness? Practice, the path. And this poem is reminding us that it is all practice. It's all practice. Rosemary Watola Tromer. Tonight, I can laugh at the part of me who thinks she should know the right thing to do, the right thing to say. Meanwhile, the rest of me wakes up each morning in wonder, marveling at the quickly changing world. Every morning, this second self practices how to bathe, how to dress. Even now, she's practicing how to write a poem, how to make breakfast, what to say to her friends, family, herself. She knows there are so many ways to do it right. Every moment contains invitations she's never noticed before. Sometimes she practices saying nothing at all. If you see her lingering beside the road, it is because she is practicing how to walk, how to see. She used to know, of course, but now she can't seem to take anything for granted. How to drink tea, how to walk into a room, it's all new. How to weep, how to smile. So beautiful. Let's practice. It's all practice. Please get comfortable sitting or laying down or standing as your body needs. Allow yourself to find some width in your posture. Allow yourself to take up some space and widen. If it feels comfortable for you, you could rest your eyes. You can either rest them closed or just rest them downward, so that we're signaling to our awareness that we're turning our attention a little bit inward. And as we're settling into our posture, the invitation here is to begin with an intention. Perhaps the intention to summon the arising of skillfulness in our mind, heart, body, being, to cultivate, to grow, to practice. May skillfulness arise. May skillfulness arise. May I be skillful. Just take another few moments here just to feel into any other intentions you wish to bring into your practice this morning. And if that intention could resonate from, land in, grow from a place in your body, where might that be for you? And see if you can just take a few moments here to feel that place in your body or wherever that is. And then if it feels all right for you, just stay resting at that place in your body, whether it's your feet or hands, belly, heart, mouth, head, anywhere it's landed for you. And see if you could just rest there. And as you rest there, we're going to reflect now on our own goodness and wholesomeness. The wholesome states, the skillful states that are already within you, that you have already grown and acted upon. And sometimes this can feel uncomfortable for us to acknowledge our own goodness. And it is a practice. It's all practice. So in 3 different times, we'll just practice now feeling into, reflecting on this kind of present moment time, these last few weeks, or this last week, last few days, today, of when you have been skillful, generous, kind, compassionate, mindful. And try not to just brush them off as, oh, that was nothing. Really feel, yeah, that was good. It was helpful. The intention, we don't know how the outcome will be, but your intention, really feel that. And then we'll take this felt experience of reflection a little further back in time. Recall, there may not be specifics that come to mind, but certainly if there are, that is helpful. Times it could be further past when you have been able to be generous with your time, your attention, your support of food or finance, or all the ways we can be generous. And reflecting on times you've been compassionate with yourself and others, with the earth, with our animal companions. All the loving touch and hugs and care that you've given. All the healing touch from our Reiki masters and therapeutic touch, even touch that isn't physical touch. And if thinking and story is arising with this reflection, just try to come back into that place where you landed your intention into your body, perhaps just resting in your hands or feet or heart, wherever that is. And know that it is wholesome and skillful and wise to allow yourself to feel your own wholesome good qualities. You are a good person. You have good and skillful intentions. And then when you're ready, we'll gently move into a futuring contemplation of our intention to move into our future actions and speech from a place of wholesomeness and skillfulness, wisdom, kindness, generosity, compassion. So take some time here to reflect now on your intention. Feel this in the body. And there may be specifics that arise of people you will be reaching out to, or generosity you can support with folks that are sewing masks that need fabric, and workplaces that need support, etc. There may be specifics, or there may just be a felt intention, and either one is fine. And now, from this reflection of wholesome states, the goodness within you, we'll just let that really land in the body somewhere. If you like it, you could touch that place if it's in the hands or the belly or the heart. Wherever that is for you, you might place your awareness there more intentionally and kind of charge that area, feed that area, touch into your goodness and your intention to cultivate this third wise effort. And then we'll take these last few minutes here of practice, opening our attention a little wider, kind of imagining a sphere of awareness around your whole being. And you're just sitting, reclining, standing, resting in that sphere of awareness. And at the core or center of this is your intention for kindness and skillfulness, wholesomeness. And all around this is a state of flow. This constantly unfolding, effervescent, flowing nature. Just a really soft awareness that all the thoughts are coming and going. You don't need to pick any of them up. Just a feeling of flow. The sounds are coming and going. Sensations coming and going. And it's all practice. We bring this wonder, this curiosity, marveling at the quickly changing world. These last few minutes in silence, we'll just rest here. Find some spaciousness, softness to just rest into the flow. With this little bit of joy and curiosity of not knowing. You might be able to feel if you've solidified around anything, around a sensation, solidified around a thought, emotion. And see if you could just let it be its true nature, coming and going. And stay resting with your mindful awareness as you open to the arising and passing of these three bells. And if you like to end your practice with bowing, this is of course very, very optional. You might like to bow to your wholesome intention, your right effort to cultivate skillfulness, kindness. When you're ready, gently releasing from that practice. So we have some time here for any questions about practice, any reflections on how you summon, cultivate, arouse skillfulness and in your practice. Any challenges with reflecting on your own goodness? How did that feel? This is something you can again, Winnie Nazarko spoke about this kind of assigning it as homework to a yogi that she was meeting with. Yogis are what we call people on retreat, and that are sitting the retreat. Asking her to write out by hand a list of all of her good qualities. And of course, that's quite difficult for a lot of us to do. We can really acknowledge this in others, and it's harder for us to acknowledge this in ourselves. And to actually make a list, write out your good qualities, your wholesome qualities, the things you've done, your intentions. Of course, reminding ourselves that it's not the outcome. We don't have control of the outcome. The intentions are what matter. And we do our best to have wholesome intentions and skillful outcomes, but it's not controllable because of the idic, the infinite diversity of infinite combinations. Yeah, anyone have questions or reflections? While you're pondering that or seeing if there's anything that you need support with, remind you that Wednesday will be part 4 of the WISE efforts. Wednesday night, 7:30 to 8:30, which will be the maintaining of wholesome states when they have arisen. So good. In the whirling inconstancy, there is steadfast in my wholesomeness. Yeah, nice one. Oh, I love that. Terry, Greg, in the whirling inconstancy, there is steadfastness in my wholesomeness. That is so good. I love the way you worded that, Terry. Thank you for sharing that. That's great. Steadfastness in our wholesomeness. Yeah. So to know this helps us cultivate it and grow more of this. Yeah. I'll read Rosemary's poem again because awesome. It's all practice. This day is our practice. Tonight I can laugh at the part of me who thinks she should know the right thing to do, the right thing to say. Meanwhile, the rest of me wakes up each morning in wonder, marveling at the quickly changing world. Every morning, this second self practices how to bathe, how to dress. Even now, she is practicing how to write a poem, how to make breakfast, what to say to her friends, family, herself. She knows there are so many ways to do it right. Every moment contains invitations she's never noticed before. Sometimes she practices saying nothing at all. If you see her lingering beside the road, it's because she is practicing how to walk, how to see. She used to know, of course, but now she can't seem to take anything for granted. How to drink tea, how to walk into a room. It's all new. How to weep, how to smile. I love this about the wonder. This brings in that Dhammavicaya, the investigation, the wonder at the marvelous changing world. I find that releasing expectations as I observe and be present creates so much space for flow and growth. Totally. Because especially if the expectations are, the intention, I guess, is helpful, and expectations are not helpful. Yeah, good clarifying that. Thank you so much. That is exactly what I needed, Carolyn. My mind wants so much that I'm a good person, that there's a lot of judgments on myself, but then I'm less in my heart. Totally. We're so hard on ourselves. Yeah, so it's if we know that's a tendency for us, maybe I'm assigning you this homework to actually write them out with your hand, pen, paper, not pencil that you can erase, a pen, committing it to paper. Yes, this was a good intention. I do have, and you can reflect present. past and future. Oh, couldn't relax. The memory of a landlord many years back who bullied me and was aggressive. This came up. Yeah. I'm sorry, that was hard, Marcus. So it may be that this came up at this time for a reason. Yeah. So can you bring kindness to yourself in this moment right now, reflecting, that painful experience arose is because it's still within us, within you. And it arose because you allowed some time to be present for yourself. And this was your kind intention, your skillful attention to be present with yourself. And so it's difficult that sometimes as our practice progresses, it doesn't just get rosier. So Marcus, please take some heart that it may be that your practice is deepening, that this has come up and is asking to be known with some compassion for yourself. Compassion for yourself. So because something difficult arose doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't a good practice. It was a difficult practice, yeah. Feel free to message me on Facebook, Marcus, if you like, if you want to talk any more about that. So Rosemary's poem is linked below. I'm just keeping to our time commitment of 9 until 10. And there's links to please support True North Insight. We're not able to offer our retreats and right now, so this is very helpful. And there's also a link if you wish to support me. It is all greatly appreciated. You're welcome. So hope to see some of you on Wednesday evening for part 4, and you can always watch after the fact as well if you can't be there. May we all cultivate and grow, nurture. It doesn't mean that it needs to be that way or stay that way, but our intention to grow and cultivate, summon skillfulness, wholesomeness, compassion, generosity. May all beings be at peace. Thank you. End stream.